Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We were here this morning, and we're here this afternoon now. We just had a great lunch, and we are going to be talking about some natural remedies. This morning in my presentation, I referenced some natural remedies, and so we thought that this afternoon we would show you just how easy it is to replicate some of these things. So I'm here with my husband, Randy.
Hi, everyone.
And just a little bit about us, what we do. What do we do?
We are farmers.
We're farmers, first and foremost. Most of our year is taken up with farming. And Randy, you've been a farmer for much of your life.
Gardening, anyway, yeah.
A gardener, and I've been a city girl for much of my life.
Yeah, and she's the one that convinced us to do farming, get into this whole thing, but we're loving it.
About that.
Yeah, most of the time.
I didn't realize how much work was involved. I thought it was a romantic thing I could do with my husband, being out in the fields, romantic. Stop right there, because it's a ton of work, but it's so rewarding. I've as a dietitian, it's helped me to come full circle. I teach health, and now I can feed people the best possible food. So thank you.
You are welcome.
So we are farmers, we're healthy lifestyle advocates, and a few more pictures of us out on the farm, out in the field, and at the farmers market and such. This is what we do for most of the year. So during the winter time, as it is now, we get to rest up a little tiny bit. We do have other day jobs, but farming is most of what we do. All right, so to preface what we're doing this afternoon, when you look around the world today, and you see what is going on with all the diseases that we have. We've got the cancers, we've got heart disease, we've got diabetes, we've got so many diseases right now, and all of a sudden, along comes COVID-19 to add to our pressures.
Mm-hmm. Kind of took the whole world for a loop a bit.
Absolutely, by surprise. Weren't prepared for it, and it's really turned the world upside down. And we're seeing that, with all the diseases and such that we have, we really need to take a step back and figure out our health, because COVID-19 is doing quite a number on our society. And so what we are really trying to get across in this presentation is that we need to be as healthy as possible. We need to take charge of our own health, which is easy to do, because if we don't, not only is the cancer and the diabetes and all those things going to be nipping at us, but now we have things like COVID-19 that are life-threatening. This is a very serious time that we're living in. And this, November 26th, the latest thing, the new COVID threat, the Omicron, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but the Omicron variant that is now threatening the world. And what we've seen is, with the COVID-19, is that we've had so many thousands of people die, and I have to say, on the record, die needlessly. Because there are ways and means that are at our disposal that we can utilize to counteract
Amen to that.
COVID-19. And so we are here to show you a few simple things that you can do if you've got a cold coming on, if you've got a flu coming on, if you've got COVID-19 coming on, a few things that you can do at home. And so just some slides that we've got here, COVID-19 and chronic disease. What we're seeing is, if you have diabetes, if you have high blood pressure, if you have, a whole bunch of illnesses, you are going to be more prone to a severe case of COVID-19. If you were a healthy person, didn't have all those chronic situations, you wouldn't have it as bad for the most part. But when you do have these other things, it's going to be a much more severe case for you. So this is why it's so important to think about our health, to start grappling with what can I do to make myself healthier. And it really isn't a hard thing at all.
Not hard.
It isn't a hard thing at all. Here's just more of what I was just saying there, so I'm just going to skip that one. What we really need is...
The 8 laws of health.
Ta-da! A new start.
A new start,
the 8 laws of health. Absolutely. And for...
And for nutrition, sorry.
Yeah. E for exercise. W
for water.
S.
Sunlight.
T.
Temperance.
A. Temperance.
A is for air.
R.
For rest.
T for trust in God. Absolutely. So we're going to run through these really, really quickly before we get on to our natural remedies. So what we're seeing with respect to nutrition, we've got a whole ton of studies that are showing us that plant-based diets are linked to less severe illness from COVID-19. I was just mentioning that if you have, cancers or diabetes or all those things, you're probably going to have a more severe case of it. But here, this is also saying if you are on a plant-based way of eating, you're likely to have less severe illness. Isn't that fantastic?
That's pretty cool.
So nutrition, N for nutrition, so plant-based. E for exercise. That's a picture of you.
That is a picture of me. That's what I love to do, backpacking up in the mountains.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talk about how exercise benefits us. These are just 4 ways that it does. In reality, there are a myriad, hundreds of ways that exercise benefits us, but it's going to decrease our risk for various illnesses, for most illnesses. It's going to help to lower our LDL cholesterol. It's going to help to increase our HDL cholesterol. What are those 2 cholesterols? What's the difference? LD, little devils. HD, heavenly darlings. And so you want to lower the LDL cholesterol in your blood, and it's easy to do with exercise. Absolutely. And of course, exercise on a daily basis is also going to help you to sleep better. A story about Hulda Crooks. She started exercising when she was around, 66 years of age, I believe it was? Yes. Sickly all her life, started exercising in her older age and lived to be almost 100 because she started doing all this mountain climbing, backpacking. And so if she can start at her age, 66, that's really putting the rest of us to shame. So
no excuses.
No excuses. Get on it, guys. Strap those running shoes on and get yourself out there. The benefits of water. Why do we need water?
Because our body's made up of water.
Absolutely. 60 to 80% of your body is made up of water, and so you need to be drinking a good amount of water every day. Having said that, I know I'm sometimes not so good.
I'm the one that's always, here's the water bottle.
Because I'm so busy doing stuff, I'm forgetting to drink my water. So drink your water. Got headaches? Drink water. Joint pain? Drink water. Dry eyes? Drink water. Back pain, all kinds of pains, aches and pains, drink water. There's a book that's called, I think, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, and so many of our ailments are directly attributable to our lack of water. And John, I see you there drinking your water. Fantastic. Fantastic. So the S for sunlight, and we've got the studies that show us that sunlight exposure increases our COVID-19 recovery rate. If you have a case of COVID-19, get outside into the fresh air. Get the sunshine on your body. It's a little bit hard now in the winter, but
just get out there.
Still, get out there. The fresh air and those whatever limited rays we're getting is still going to do you some good. Absolutely. And the T in New Start stands for temperance. Now, temperance is a big, old-fashioned word for a more new-fashioned word, moderation. Everything in moderation, right? Wrong. Not everything is good for us. So only those things that are good for us in moderation. The things that aren't good for us, leave them alone. Put them back on the store shelf. Don't bring them home. So use the honey principle when it comes to temperance. Here it is. In the Bible, in Proverbs 24:13, and you remember Proverbs, the wisest man who ever did live, King Solomon. This is what he's got to say. My son, eat honey because it is good. That's the first principle. The second principle, in Proverbs 25, verse 16, do you like honey? Don't eat too much, or it will make you sick. Third part, Proverbs 25:27, it is not good to eat too much honey. So the take-home message is, if it's good,
moderation.
Do it in moderation. That's the honey principle. All right. And now let's talk about air, fresh air.
Yeah.
You have anything to say about air? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot because you're not supposed to be, doing this part. But you love fresh air.
I love getting outside. And actually this picture here, this is actually close by here.
That's
I'm not sure
right.
if you guys recognize this, but this is out Slocan Valley towards Slocan, little
Lake?
Slocan Lake.
Yes.
Yeah, we went on quite the adventure this fall, going up this little goat trail in the road, and
Trying to find this
came to a
camping
dead
spot.
end, and this is where we camped, but it was the most beautiful spot. Yeah, so we love it out in this area.
Absolutely beautiful. And what's really fantastic about this type of fresh air up in the mountains with the pine trees and all the other trees around and the body of water right there are the negative ions that you're going to get from being in that environment. So that's the really neat thing about this particular picture. Studies show that children, where was it? Negative ions have demonstrated salutary effects. Here it is. In one study, normal children and even those with learning disabilities showed measurable improvements in brain function when they were in the negative ion kind of environment, out in a park, out in the forest, by a body of water.
Well, and of course, those trees that we see there, those are all giving off oxygen, right? So you're just surrounded by oxygen.
Absolutely, oxygenating our bodies, yes. And then the R for rest. And we talk about not just sleeping at night. That's really important. 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night is really important for your body. But also the importance of the cycle in your body. You've got a 7-day cycle in your body. And it's called the circumceptum rhythm. It's not tied to any lunar or anything like that. It's just inherent in your body. God put it in there.
And not just our body, in every animal on earth
Absolutely.
has a 7-day cycle.
Put it in there, yes. And so that 7-day cycle ends on the Sabbath day. And studies show that back in the French Revolution there, when they tried to implement a 10-day week, they were trying to get rid of the God factor, get God out of it. And so they implemented a 10-day week, and it was disastrous. People were...
Their animals started getting sick and worn out, and they had to revert back to the 7-day cycle.
Absolutely, because the people were getting sick and worn out as well, and the mental institutions were overflowing with people with mental health issues. When you try and circumvent what God has done, it always ends in disaster. And so also the last point there, research shows that people who take a spiritual rest on Saturday as a weekly day of rest show dramatic decreases in the rates of coronary artery disease and lots of other diseases as well. So the importance of 7, the importance of rest, and just some other stuff there. I'm going to just bypass that really quickly. Also, with respect to that God factor, the frontal lobe, this part of your brain here, that's where God can speak to us. And we know that we can enhance our frontal lobe function through good nutrition. So that's
all
what,
sorts of benefits.
absolutely. That's what this slide is all about. It's got to be plant-based, though. It's got to be plant-based because that's what's going to help to give you that clarity of thought, clarity of blood, of your blood. So plant-based, lower calorie. Because it's plant-based, it's going to be lower calorie. Flax seeds, walnuts, almonds, omega-3s, all kinds of good things. But we're not going to get into these things now. We are here for another purpose. Just want to reiterate, your health is your wealth.
Amen to that.
Absolutely. If you're not healthy, your quality of life is going to be so much lower than the person who is experiencing good, vibrant health. So your health is your wealth. Eat to live. That's the message. Love yourself enough to live a healthy lifestyle. It's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Actually, hold on here. And this is not something new that we're talking about because over a century ago, a woman by the name of Ellen G. White had this to say: education in health principles was never more needed than now. It demands the attention of all who have at heart the well-being of their fellow men. Educating ourselves with respect to healthy living is an imperative. And I'm just going to skip that one. And that brings us to our natural remedies demonstrations that we want to do right now. Psalm 119, 126, it is time for thee, O Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. And that's what we're seeing today. People are pushing aside the laws of health that God gave us, and they're saying, no, take this pill, or take this drug, or take this whatever. And instead of going back and saying, you know what? God gave us the food to be our medicine. Hippocrates, how many years ago? What was it he had to say?
Yeah, let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
Absolutely.
And that's just the amazing thing is how, these things that we're having for our natural remedies, these are things in our backyard, in the grocery store, inexpensive. You don't need to go and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars for these things. It's so simple. And so people think, if it's so simple, it can't really work.
Exactly.
But it's very powerful, but more gentle. You don't have to worry about overdosing on lemons or onions, or unless you ate maybe like a 10-pound bag or something.
A whole stack, exactly. And in the Bible, I forget where he says, it's the simple things of God that confound people. They just can't figure that out. It's too simple, as you're saying. It can't work. It's so simple, and yet they do, without side effects. Without harming us.
And we've witnessed in our own lives and in the lives of other people as well. It's amazing what these natural remedies can do.
Absolutely. Here's a couple, Agatha and Calvin Thrash. They were medical doctors. They used to be conventional medicine doctors, and they moved over to being more of the natural remedy type of doctors. And this is what they had to say. Having been thoroughly schooled in the allopathic methods of treating disease used generally by MDs, doctors, it was no small matter to make the changes in thinking necessary to accept as true remedies those treatments that call for few drugs and rely on the physiological process that ultimately bring about all healing. So they used to do the other way, and now they do the true remedies way. Now, actually, both of them have died, but the true remedies, this is what they came to understand. So,
died from living a long, healthy life, though.
Healthy life, helping others,
Yes,
helping millions of people. So let's dive in to our natural remedies.
To start off with, what have we got here?
We've got, you gave it that really cool
You've got
name.
our super duper cold and flu buster tea.
Yes, absolutely.
And it works. It's some amazing stuff.
Right now it's flu season. And for 2 years, it's been COVID season. So this tea is going to be really fantastic here. What is so good about it? First of all, what do we have here?
We got some lemons sliced up here.
And what's so great about lemons?
There's one lemon here.
Lemons are high in vitamin C.
Of course.
They have
antioxidant, antibacterial properties.
absolutely cleanse the body.
Cleansing the body, gets
of
mucus out of our body.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, water with lemon, with a pinch of cayenne even. Fantastic for cleansing the body. So we've got our lemon. Garlic.
Next, we got our garlic, and we love growing our garlic.
Love garlic.
There's the garlic here.
That's from our farm.
Yeah.
What's so great about garlic?
Well,
So
pretty
many
much
things.
everything.
Exactly. And I've hardly listed.
These are only a few
much.
things, but improves cardiovascular health,
It's anti-inflammatory, antifungal,
antiviral,
antibacterial, anti-friend. Because if you eat too much, your friends are going to leave. But like we like to say, if your friends don't like your garlic breath, find yourself some new friends. That's all there is to it. So, because garlic
Can't have enough garlic.
you can't have enough. Garlic is just fantastic for our good health. And then we also
Then we
have
some
onion.
onions here. So we can either slice these up or chop them up like this here.
And onion is going to lower your bad cholesterol. Remember, we want to lower the LDL, the little darling cholesterol. It's going to improve your cardiovascular system.
Antibacterial, anti-inflammatory.
Yes,
Mind
absolutely.
you, I mean, just about, I'd say every vegetable there is anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
Some are more so than others, but yeah, these are all have a natural anti-inflammatory effect.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right. And then there is
And then we have the
ginger.
ginger. So, fourth ingredient in our tea, some
And
ginger.
again, it's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
If you're feeling nauseous, if you're having some stomach troubles, feeling nauseous, make some ginger tea. Women, menstrual cramps, all that kind of thing, have some ginger tea. Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
what are we going to do?
So here's our recipe for it. Super simple. Just 1 onion, 1 head of garlic, 1 lemon, and a 2-inch piece of ginger.
Yes.
And so we just get some boiling water, get water to a full boil.
And you know what? I want to take some of this water out for
Get some
this
for the
tea here.
tea, yeah.
And then we can put, okay, so doing that.
So of course, if we had our stove here, we'd have this on the stove and it'd be boiling water. And we would just dump in the ginger and the garlic. And the garlic, oh, that's one thing we should mention, that it's good to
Smash your garlic.
Smash it and then let it sit for 10 minutes because that gets the
Allicin, nice and blossoming. That's the medicinal properties, the sulfuric properties.
So let that sit
Yeah.
at room temperature and that
For at
does
least
that.
10 minutes, for a
Yeah.
good 10
Yeah.
minutes.
So we put that in there, put the onion in here, and we let it boil for another minute or so. Nothing super exact, but for another minute or so. And then we take it off the stove, put the lemon in it, and keep it covered all the time because we want to keep the oils, the aromatic oils in there
Exactly, yes.
that are very beneficial. And just let it steep for 10 minutes. And enjoy.
Drink up,
Yeah.
drink up. You know, I had posted this on Facebook, and a few people were saying, "Oh, yuck, that sounds horrendous," especially with the onions in there.
And the garlic. Yeah.
But you know what? It doesn't taste bad at all. It's quite pleasant.
And then, I mean, you can put some honey in, and honey is very good for a cold or whatever as well.
Exactly.
Cold or flu,
Use
so,
unpasteurized honey.
I mean, we often don't put honey in, but honey won't be. It will be just beneficial. It's not going to do anything bad.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you want to put in a little just to sweeten it up,
Go right ahead. But this tea, whenever I feel a cold coming on, we just put the tea on. And that doesn't happen too often when I feel a cold coming on, but whenever I do feel one,
just get this right away.
absolutely,
Yeah.
it nips it in the bud, seriously. And now that it is
magic.
cold season, now that it's flu season, now that COVID is here for staying for a while, you want to have this even if you don't feel a cold coming on, just as a
have it,
maintenance
a few
kind of
times
thing.
a week if you, I mean, if we had it, if we were having a cold, just take this pot is about 6 to 8 cups. Yeah, just take the whole thing in a day, like 6 to 8 cups. Just replace that instead of your
Your
water.
regular water,
water.
yes.
Yeah,
And
it's good stuff.
It's dynamite,
Yeah.
telling you, super duper.
I mean, if you have a sore throat, that just takes away the sore throat like magic.
Definitely. Achy sinuses, sinusitis, any of those kind of things, get some garlic, and even if you don't have all the ingredients, even if it's just the garlic.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I mean, same
Powerful.
thing with onion too. I mean, any of those things are, but combined together, it's just
Synergy,
Yeah.
synergy working together.
Yeah.
All right. So moving right along, let's talk about black cumin seed, because a lot of people aren't familiar with black cumin
and that
seed.
was a new thing for us too.
Yes, it
up
was
until a few months
little while
yeah.
ago. Exactly. Scientific name, Nigella sativa. You'll see that on the package. And actually, there's a picture of it there. It just looks like little black shards of rock or something,
And
just
you want
tiny.
to make sure it's the black one, because there is another one that's called black cumin seed,
Yes.
but it's more just a brown color.
Yeah, and it looks more like cumin. This doesn't look like the regular cumin. Yes, so definitely get the rocky kinds.
Yeah,
Get the rocky
and that's the
kinds.
scientific name, so you want to make sure it's that one. But this stuff is pretty incredible.
It is. First of all, some of the health benefits, it's got manganese, copper, iron, phosphorus, magnesium, calcium, zinc, all kinds of things in these little rocky particles here. And of course, like the garlic and the onion, it's antifungal, antiviral. But the really cool thing about all of these things is that they are all going to boost your immune system, and that's what we need in this time of COVID. You've got to have a strong immune system to fight off whatever is coming your way.
And that's really for most illnesses and diseases, the natural remedy is really to build up your immune system.
Yes.
It's, many diseases, one cure kind of thing, to a large degree anyway.
So true. As a dietitian, I get asked a lot, can you do up a diet for me for my diabetes or for my high blood pressure, or one diet for all
It
diseases?
makes it kind of easy job for you.
It kind of does. But that's what people have to realize. You just go plant-based and you're going to start to reverse a whole lot of stuff at the same time. Once you're getting rid of your diabetes, you're also going to be getting rid of your high blood pressure and your gout and all the other things. So it's the way God created our bodies.
And that's the thing, as you're drinking this tea, it's for colds and flus, but if you're having other ailments, it's probably going to be doing some amazing things and for all sorts of other ailments as well. So it's not just for colds or flus, but it's just to build up your immune system too. So it's just fights off anything.
Exactly, yes. All right, let's talk about randomized trials, clinical trials in Pakistan with the black cumin seed. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, so this was a study that was, actually we don't have the date, but it was done a little while ago.
Let's see, do we have that one?
No, okay, we don't, but anyway. So it was randomized, it was done after COVID, because this was for COVID patients that the study was done in Pakistan, involving 313 patients. The black seed group had a 50% reduction in time to alleviate symptoms, so that's pretty impressive. Black seed patients saw a resolution in 4 days versus 7 days in placebo group.
Much quicker.
And severe cases were reduced by a whole week.
Absolutely.
So that's sounding impressive, but we haven't got to the most amazing things yet.
Okay.
Okay, you want to carry on with this part.
Okay, all right. Well, the group, they saw clearance of their virus 4 days earlier. So all of this is just showing us that everything was quicker with respect to the group that took the black cumin seed. People who were on ventilators, they saw a 50% hospital discharge rate, so they got out quicker than the others. And in severe cases, the mortality rate was reduced by a whopping 80%.
80%. And that's impressive.
Incredible, just
Very
incredible.
impressive.
And so here's what you do with those little black shards of rock. And they're not rock, they're seeds. But you want to
grind them up.
Grind
so
them
if you
up.
have a coffee grinder, or we do this in our Vitamix high-speed blender.
If you don't have a Vitamix, we don't get paid for saying this, but you've got to invest in one because it's just so amazing. So we've ground it up, and we're going to take, what's the recipe there?
So we take 1 teaspoon. Let's see, we
Find
got
your
our measuring.
teaspoon.
So 1 teaspoon of that. Super simple recipe. And I mean, if you are, for severe cases, double this dose that they're saying here. But yeah, you're not going to, it's extremely safe, the cumin seed. The only thing is if people are on like high blood thinners, yeah.
And also with the garlic.
Yeah.
If you're on blood thinners, you have to be careful with garlic as well. So keep that in mind. But for this one, we're doing a teaspoon of the black seed, the crushed up black seed, and a tablespoon of honey.
And you don't have to do a tablespoon. We've actually reduced it to more like 1-to-1, a teaspoon of each.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has, yeah. What I find though, it's a bit strong for me with the honey. Too much honey for me is just too sweet, too much. So I actually add a little bit of water so I can just down it. Otherwise, this way it takes me a while to get through the mixture. Just to be honest here, yeah.
And you don't need the honey, but they did find in the studies that the honey actually they work synergistically together.
Yes.
The honey and the black cumin seed, and so the honey is important in this. It really, does some amazing stuff for COVID patients.
There you go.
So just take this and some
so
yummy little fudge candy stuff.
Goopy thing there.
Yeah.
Looks like caramel or something. You can just trick your kids and have some nice yummy dessert. And they'll probably love it because of the honey. But I just found that it was really difficult for me to take it all in. He just puts the whole thing in his mouth and just, But for me, I have to take little by little by little, so it takes me a while. So that's why I found that adding a little liquid to it just helps me to down it really quickly. So there you've got.
There you got that one.
Yes. All right. And so next, this is just a little chart here that tells us more about the benefits of the black seed, how it works within your body.
And wasn't it Muhammad? What did he have to say about black cumin seed?
The Prophet Muhammad, I was reading. What was it he said again?
He said that black cumin seed
is the cure for all diseases.
Yeah, except death. Except death. So this has been around for thousands of years.
Actually,
that people have known how amazing black cumin seed is.
They've been using it in the Middle East, Egypt, those areas, India, for quite thousands of years. And in East Indian cooking, for example, this is where we found our black seed in the one of the East Indian stores in Kelowna. And it was interesting because the first one we went to, they had a black seed, but it wasn't the right one. It was the one you were talking about that looks like a cumin seed, and it's more of a dark brown. So we bought that because that was the early days when we didn't quite know what we were looking for. But then I kept, looking on the computer thinking, that doesn't really look like the one that they're talking about. So we went to a few other places. We didn't find it in Superstore or any of those places. I think they have the black seed oil at Nature's Fair.
And you can use that as well. It's a lot more expensive. But we really like the whole food instead of taking, isolating, compounds, because there's so many different kinds of things in the whole seed.
That's right.
And in the whole food that you're going to get that are beneficial.
That's right. So we found this one in a local East Indian store. Mind you, they do say that the best ones are from either Egypt, and I forget the other place.
Egypt or Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, that's right.
Yeah.
But we bought this one. If we were going to give it to somebody who was already compromised by COVID, we wouldn't give them this particular one. We'd get the better one.
This is more risk of contamination from India.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, but for a healthy person, there shouldn't be any difficulties. All right, and this is just another.
This shows about the study, the specifics about the study.
Okay, which brings us to pine needle tea. How many people have pine needles, pine trees in their backyards? So
And
talk
this,
to us
and this
about
isn't
trees.
even, doesn't have to be pine needles, actually. Even fir trees, spruce, balsam, yeah, they all are fine to use. But the white pine is really the best. So if you can get a hold of white pine needles, if you know what to look for, you can buy them online as well. But any of the needles are very, very powerful. They have rich and powerful antioxidants.
Yes.
Boosts the immune system.
Yes, you can use it in so many ways as an expectorant, decongestant. If you're congested, feeling congested in your sinuses, your chest, etc., drink some pine needle tea.
And
it's
for,
free.
And for COVID, what's the, now do you remember?
Is it shikimic?
Oh man, you're
the
good.
shikimic acid that's in there that is so amazing for your health. And interestingly enough, this has been used by, native cultures forever. Yes, this is not something new. High in vitamin A, vitamin C, so it's going to be good for your eyesight, your bones, your hair, your skin. So even if you're not drinking it for, as a decongestant or something, it can be, clearing up your acne and having beautiful, luscious hair and stuff. But this is just so amazing.
And it tastes delicious.
It
the way
does,
we love the flavor
and
of
it smells so amazing.
Yeah, just bringing the evergreens right into your home.
So it's like Christmas kind of thing, people have the evergreens. So this is what you're doing. You're just plucking these off of the tree, off the branch there, and losing them on the floor. And so you've got the little brown bits that you're going to just snip off. And then you're going to cut them up into, an inch or two kind of length.
Yeah,
You're going to
you don't really
off.
need to snip those off, but my wife is.
But it looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks pretty. There you go. There's nothing bad about the tips.
It probably adds some
probably,
good stuff there.
There's nothing toxic in the ends of it.
That's true. What I was reading online, though, they all said to snip it off. So I thought, okay, I'll be a good citizen and snip that off. But it probably does add good things. So you're just going to cut it up like this, and then you've got your you have your pot of water. Dump it into your pot of water, but we're just going to put it into some hot water in this cup here.
And of course, once again, let it steep, covered. Like any tea, you want to keep it covered.
Exactly.
Keep those aromatic oils in there.
And it smells so good. It just, love it, love it. Okay, and then this one here should be ready.
Well, this isn't boiling, so normally it should be boiling, and it gets a real nice yellow color.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it looks like we're making soup, except for the lemon floating around in there. But seriously, this stuff is dynamite. So, so good. Did you want to taste it? I think you did.
Well, sure. I'll try some. There's some onion in there.
I think you said you wanted to taste it.
Tastes delicious.
Yeah. It's quite pleasant. Very pleasant. And again, if you need to add some honey, just a little bit of honey. Don't go overboard. Okay.
And that's, like you're saying, this looks like you're making soup. But that's the crazy thing with natural remedies, because you could take a lot of these things and say, make a mask for your face, for the ladies, or you can,
Let food be your medicine.
Blend them up and make a smoothie and drink it. Or
Yes. And the thing is, you can just, if you didn't use all of this for drinking it as a tea, make it into a soup.
Yeah.
Add some veggies
just
there.
Food, yeah.
Exactly. Add some veggies and beans and have a nice lemony, garlicky flavor.
No waste. Yeah.
It's perfect. What you can also do is, as it's steeping, you could, as it's boiling, you could be getting inhaling the steam. Yeah, a nice steam inhalation. So it's a triple whammy. So you can use it as a steam inhalation as you're making it, and then you're drinking it, and then afterwards, what's left, because when you're finished, you're going to have all that onion and garlic and stuff, and then transform that into a soup. Just add them to whatever soup you've got there.
We should maybe just mention that we don't have that on our list, but
what is it?
Are you talking about that? Like if someone has COVID, taking with the steam, putting in a couple drops, 2 or 3 drops of oregano oil in there, and you just put a towel over top so you just get the steam, and that's super, super powerful for the healing for COVID or for any any kind of cold or flu.
Yes, the oregano oil.
So that's just something else to throw out there.
So many things. So many things are healing to our bodies.
And that's
Fantastic.
the thing, like if you don't have one of these ingredients or some other ingredient, you're probably going to have something in your kitchen that is going to be amazing too. So there's 1,000 different things that are going to be useful too, and more. So.
I tell you, you're so right.
An endless amount.
You are so right. Let's talk about cayenne powder. You're all familiar with this red hot cayenne powder here. I love adding cayenne to my soups and stuff, just a little bit to give a nice little kick. I add it to pasta sauces and such. We know a gentleman who adds it to everything.
Everything.
Including dessert. He lives.
But he never gets sick.
And so he's onto something, absolutely he is. So what is he onto? It's going to clear congestion.
Digestive aid.
And that's what when he's eating, he uses it as that digestive aid. Cardiovascular health, circulatory system, all of these things.
Definitely would do the circulatory.
Yes, absolutely right. There is a book, what's it called again? Back to Eden? By Jethro Kloss. I love his name, Jethro. I love that name, so old-fashioned. But in that book, he's outlining all kinds of herbs and, everything. And he has 13, I believe it's 13 pages he's got dedicated to talking about the benefits of cayenne powder, cayenne pepper. Now, other peppers like black pepper or white pepper, those aren't so good to our health.
That's a totally different thing than cayenne pepper, totally different plant family.
Yes, and so those are actual irritants to our system, but the cayenne pepper.
Cayenne pepper actually will heal. Like if we have ulcers and stuff, it will actually heal the lining and stuff of our stomach.
Amazing. It stops bleeding in open wounds. We've done that before.
And even big wounds that are really bleeding, just pack it with cayenne and it will stop the bleeding.
Yes, heart attacks.
Yeah, that's another one where someone is feeling like they're suffering a heart attack. I mean, it's pretty potent. Just 1 second here. But just take a teaspoon of cayenne pepper and that will stop a heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a question or something?
Yeah, it prevented me from having a heart attack.
Oh, really?
The running nurse had to take me to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Another person. And when I felt where it's like my feet were getting cold, I didn't feel anything down there.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
It was on a Sabbath like now, in the morning. And I just went and swallowed 8 ounces glass, 8-ounce glass, with some cayenne pepper. And as they're taking me, I've been feeling life in my foot.
Oh, wow.
The doctor says, if you did not use anything, we don't know what we would have to do with you here.
Oh, wow.
Because all they said,
it gets the blood flowing.
Circulatory. Yes.
Well, thank you for that testimony. That's awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That is perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that is an easier way of putting it in some water as opposed to just taking
you probably kill yourself.
So definitely. Putting it in that water. So cayenne pepper. Make sure you've got cayenne pepper.
Any first aid kit should have some cayenne pepper in it.
Absolutely.
Very, very good stuff.
And another thing that a first aid kit needs is charcoal. Charcoal is the bomb, seriously. So many things to be said about charcoal. We
could have a whole class just on charcoal.
On charcoal, yes.
So, I mean, bee stings, spider bites,
hold it up here.
Venomous, spider bites, venomous snake bites. Put a poultice of charcoal on there, as well as I would take it internally as well with a glass of water. Take like a tablespoon of charcoal.
And even the charcoal contrast bite bite. The charcoal contrast bath. So if you had a bite, like a dog bite or a bee sting, but mostly the bad ones, like a dog bite, cat bite, venomous snake, you'd put that area first in the contrast bath. So you'd fill a bucket or a big bowl with water, put like half a cup of charcoal in there, and just bathe that area just to get stuff out of there while you're also drinking, and then afterwards put the poultice on. So you're using charcoal in a lot of different ways, but just powerful. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Of course, if you get a stomach flu or anything, food poisoning, you know, the hospitals use that regularly for like drug overdoses or whatever. They'll charcoal.
And the thing about charcoal is it is an adsorber as opposed to an absorber.
Explain.
So what that means is that, for example, think about a sponge. Think about a sponge. You put that sponge in a bucket of water, and you pull up that sponge, and it's got the water in it, but it's also going to start leaking off. The water's going to start coming out of that sponge. That sponge absorbed water. Adsorb now is where the charcoal actually sticks to the thing.
So it's not going to come off.
So it's not going to come off. Exactly.
It just stays there and then it will exit your body.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's attaching to that thing that you're wanting to get rid of.
One thing important, if you are taking it internally, drink lots of water with it because it can cause constipation if you don't.
That's right, yes.
And also if you are on any medication or even just eating food, you know, like you can take charcoal on a regular basis, but don't take it 2 to 3 hours away from when you've eaten or especially any drug medication because it will absorb and take that drug medication out as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Of course, ideally we want to be moving towards, if we are on any drug medications, moving towards learning natural ways of getting rid of those things.
Yes.
And so, but if we are on drug medications, that's one thing you need to be aware of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And just, you know, what you're saying about if we're on drugs for hypertension, high blood pressure, for gout, for diabetes, please know that all of those things, all of those diseases are reversible. They are reversible. And today's not the day when we'll talk about all that, but they're reversible. You don't have to manage, you know, you don't have to be on them for the rest of your life. You can get off them, and often within a very short time. It's just all about changing your lifestyle, changing that lifestyle, that new start, using the New Start principles. All right, so back to the charcoal.
Okay, back to charcoal.
You can use charcoal to brush your teeth.
Yeah, and we've done that.
We have done that. We have.
And it doesn't make your teeth all black. Well, it does at first, but it washes off and makes them whiter. That's the cool thing.
There you go. But you want to be using the finer charcoal. There are finer charcoals and more coarse ones. The finer ones will be better for doing that because there's concern about the particles stripping your enamel from your teeth. So.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't do that regularly. I mean, maybe it's fine for doing it regularly, but I would probably just do it intermittently. Yeah.
That's an excellent idea. Eliminates odors.
Lowers concentration of total lipids.
The cholesterol in your body. Yeah, absolutely. So those are just some of the...
And did we mention poultices? I don't think we mentioned that. Yeah, we okay, now well, you had that in the list before, yeah. Snatch a poultice, but yeah, here we go.
So talking about charcoal as a poultice, where it's going to be drawing out the poisons in your blood. So like that bee sting, for example, or that venomous snake or whatever. Putting that charcoal poultice on there and leaving it on there, it's going to be drawing.
And poultices really have become a lost art. I mean, back 60, 70 years ago, hospitals everywhere were doing poultices. Are you looking for something?
Yeah, I should have put on here some paper towel.
Oh,
the
yes.
poultice.
Well, we'll just, yeah.
But
It's okay. For the onion, it's not a big deal. A lot of times we don't even use,
Yeah,
we just go directly.
Yeah.
So no worries.
no worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, poultices, I mean, just putting food on your skin, and it does an amazing thing. It sounds like the craziest thing in the world, but it's...
But let food be your medicine
That's
and
right.
medicine be your food. So let's talk about some foods that we use as poultices. We've talked about charcoal.
Yeah, charcoal is very
and
powerful.
When you're doing charcoal as a poultice, there's tons of resources online, but you want to be using it with something else, because when you just put charcoal in water, it's going to cake, and it won't be nice for drawing things out. You want it to be kind of goopy.
Yeah, so honey, once again, is a great thing. And honey by itself is a great poultice.
Oh, yes.
I mean, if you have a burn,
I just
put
had a
some
burn
honey,
the other
put some
day. Yeah.
honey on there and then use that as a poultice. But I mean, you could have mixed, if it was a bad burn, probably be excellent to mix it with the charcoal and put that
put it
on,
on.
because that's going to be preventing any infection.
Yes.
The charcoal, of course, the honey is antibacterial
As well.
I mean, honey can never go bad. You could have honey sitting for
Millions of
for thousands of years, probably millions, and it still wouldn't ever go bad.
Isn't it amazing?
So yeah, it's incredible.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, so and then of course we have on there some other ones, and there's a whole lot more things that you can use for poultice, but
Yes,
cabbage, very anti-inflammatory. So yeah, very
Mustard,
powerful stuff.
The onion is what we're going to be talking about, because, for example, we have firsthand stories from people who have used onion poultices.
Medical doctors actually that are using this for COVID patients who have chest pneumonia from the COVID, and they are monitoring the patients. And within a half hour of putting the onion poultice on, already the oxygen levels are shooting up, increasing. The oxygen levels are like very powerful.
So let's show
and we have firsthand knowledge of people that we know that have been using this. And
That's right.
With tremendous results.
Very good effect.
Yeah, but you can use it for chest congestion, all sorts of things. But also, like I actually last winter I got a boil on my knee, and I was working very hard at the time and I wasn't paying attention to it, and it actually, because I was kneeling all the time, it forced that into my bloodstream. It got my whole leg very swollen. It was pretty serious, but I put onion poultice on there, and it just, it took a little bit, because that is actually a very severe thing that I had, but it just made that all go away. So it has,
over a few days,
over a few days,
And you also did the garlic to start, so that was helpful as well.
Yeah, I was doing garlic as well.
Yeah, it burned, but it was helpful.
But so very powerful for a number of different things. It will draw out infection. I mean, if you have, there's different people are talking about how if you are fighting a cold, just putting an onion that's sliced and peeled next to your bed, and how that will attract the poisons.
Yes.
And so
exactly, and putting onion in the bottom of your foot.
It attracts the virus, so it kind of collects there in that onion, and or put it on the bottom of your foot as well.
Yep. Before you go to sleep, put a sock over it, go to sleep, and so many amazing things that God has given us that are so simple. It's confounding. It really is. It really is
amazing.
Confounding. It's amazing. So let's show an onion poultice.
Okay. So normally we would you could put it in a cloth, but we don't have that here.
Yeah, a nice thin cloth, a nice cheesecloth is good, because the
this will be a little bit trickier, but we'll do it on your arm here.
Yes, we'll do it on the arm.
So we'll just show, since we don't have a cloth, we'll just show with a couple here. We'll say she has some bad owie there or something.
Some bad who?
Owie.
A bad owie.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, actually this will be easier if I take this out of here. And Saran wrap works great. You could use other things as well, but Saran wrap just keeps it all where it's supposed to be, and keeps anything from leaking out or anything. And just like that. wrap that up, and that's good to go.
Done.
And we would just leave that on overnight. And I mean, if it was still needing something the next day, then just continue
Yeah,
that. Maybe
just-
change it twice a day. And yeah, and just keep doing that till, and let it do its magic.
Exactly. If you were going to be using a cloth, you'd lay it out, put the onion there on top, and then fold it over, put it on yourself and wrap it. When you're using charcoal, it's a good idea to use a cloth.
Yeah, it's pretty messy.
It's very messy. So yeah, just mix it up with whatever other thing you're mixing it with. You could be mixing it with like flaxseed is a really good one because it's nice and goopy. You'd put it in that cloth, put it on, wrap it up. There's your poultice. So and there's other things you can use. So many things you can use as poultices, but potatoes, herbs, flax seeds.
I mean, you could just use grass. You could mash
For the
up,
chlorophyll.
yeah, for the chlorophyll and all the other amazing things. I mean, greens are super powerful for
Oh my goodness.
So just any kind of greens, blend it up, put it on your skin, and let it do its work.
Oh, God is amazing. All the good things that He's given to us. So I believe, that is the end of our demonstration there.
Okay. We hope you enjoyed that. I hope you will try these things out for yourself.
Yes.
It's a fun adventure, and it's just so cool to just see. And I mean, one thing we didn't talk about today is hot and cold fomentations.
That's right. That's right.
But maybe we'll just talk briefly about just about the benefits of it, of how, like, I mean, for myself, I'll just give my own little testimony.
Okay.
I know you have your testimony.
Yes. Well, let me just go back to this morning where I was talking about the Spanish flu, and they used, hot and cold fomentations as part of the protocol, and that's where we found that none of those 90 students
that was
died.
An Adventist
Seminary.
college. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, with that as a preface, let's go to that little bit of hydrotherapy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, just alternate between hot and cold. I mean, there's a number of different ways you can do the hot and cold. But for instance, I had an old chainsaw. I was building a timber frame house a number of years ago, and it was an old chainsaw. It had no anti-vibration in it at all. And using that thing for a couple of years, and my nerves just got so bad in my arms and in my hands that it was just like I couldn't even sleep at night. It was just like severe pain. And I mean, I didn't know what to do, and it was going on for quite a while that I was in such pain. But finally, I just thought, let's try the hot and cold water bath. So I just got a big tub, as hot as I could handle, and a bunch of cold water, as cold as I could handle, as cold as I could get. And I just alternated like 5 minutes in the hot, and then, like the same in the cold. That's how I did it anyway. Anyway, I did one treatment. I just went back and forth about 5 times back and forth. So it took, maybe an hour or so. And after the first treatment, already my hands were like 90% better. One more treatment, and they were completely better. And I haven't had any issues with that. That was like 12 years ago.
Incredible.
So, and that was...
And you do woodworking, cabinet making and all that. So you're, often using those
kind
tools.
Of vibrating tools.
And no problems.
Nothing, no. So just the power of
the power. The water was free. The water was free.
Yeah.
No dollars associated with this. Amazing. And then there was my little story where it was winter and I was on my way to work. And I fell in the driveway on a patch of ice. It had snowed. It was yucky and everything. I fell on a patch of ice. Picked myself back up. Nothing happened. I was good. Went on my way to work. But as the morning wore on, the pain started coming in the ankle. And by about lunchtime, 1 o'clock, I was actually in tears at my desk. It was just throbbing. It was so bad. I had to call you to come and get me. And he took me home and prepared the hot and cold. Some buckets there, some bins we had. And, as hot as you can stand it, and colder than you can stand it.
And she's not one for cold. Her Caribbean roots.
And so yeah, he stuck my leg in there, and it was literally within 15 minutes.
You're already really experiencing.
The pain was gone. And I'd been crying. I had been crying on the way home. It was so, so bad. And just, a few dunks in the hot, the cold, the hot, the cold. And, you get the pins and needles because the hot and then that really cold, you get the pins and needles. I was like, no, I can't do this. And he's such a slave driver. He's like, no, you got to do this. And so, but within 15, 20 minutes, it was gone. It was just gone. It was like, this is too crazy.
And
God is so good.
And that's the thing, when you actually experience, just try this for yourself. And when you actually experience it, you'll be sold because it works. It's amazing. And I mean, going back, we kind of brushed over it, but for COVID, for any flu, if you feel yourself getting a flu, just what I do is I just go in a hot bath as hot as I can handle it. Stay in there till I'm just sweating for stay in there for probably half an hour till I'm just sweating like crazy. And then you just get out there quickly, rinse yourself off with this straight cold water, and then go under a whole bunch of blankets. I mean, you might want to wrap yourself up in some kind of
put some pajamas on.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about because you're going to sweat incredibly, so you're just going to know
Towels.
So you go under just a ton of blankets and just stay under there for. I mean, I would just fall asleep and stay under there for an hour or so. When you wake up, it'll be totally gone.
You're going to sweat that stuff out.
And same thing if you are getting COVID, do that as soon as you feel something, and do that 3 times in 3 days, so just once per day, and that will cure anybody of pretty much anything. Doing that, that's very, very powerful.
And using these other natural remedies at the same time. Doing that, doing the black seed, drinking the garlic tea or the pine needle tea, doing all of these, just flooding your system, taking the vitamin D, the vitamin C, the zinc, the quercetin, all of these things. Just get it as soon as you feel these things coming on. If you are diagnosed with COVID and you're not feeling too bad yet, do it right away because this is going to help to keep that thing away from you. Absolutely.
Amen. Yeah, you really need to hit it at the beginning, whether it's a flu, any kind of virus or anything. You need to hit it immediately.
Exactly. And even if you do have it and it's been a little while, still get
do it.
Things.
And you just really want to do everything like you were saying.
Yes.
Boost
your immune system.
Full speed ahead.
Help that immune system. Yes.
But definitely the biggest results, the fastest, the most amazing results are if you get it right at the first. So don't waste time. This is no big deal, or no, just go and do those measures.
Exactly. Before it turns into a big deal. Yes. And that's how we can help people. This is why I was saying in the beginning when I said that people have died needlessly from COVID-19, this is why I said it, because if you do these kinds of things, do the hydrotherapy, do the garlic, do the black seed, get those things going from the get-go.
And beforehand, don't wait till you have it. Do the plant-based diet.
Yes.
If you aren't plant-based, especially during this time, go plant-based because that has the biggest benefit of pretty much anything.
Exactly. And get out there, do your exercise in the fresh air, in the sunlight, drink 8 to 10 cups of water every day, get the 7 to 8 hours of rest at night. All of these things are going to boost your immune system, make you stronger. Yes.
What if you don't sleep straight the 7 to 8 hours straight? You wake up after 5 hours and then you go back.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah.
Make it cumulative. If that's what your body does, I know because it's hard for me as well. I don't sleep a full 7 to 8 hours, but get that in. If you can go back and get some more, get it in.
And that's actually, it's interesting that ancient cultures, that's how they'd have a siesta in the afternoon, and then they would go to sleep because they didn't have lights, so they go to sleep when it's dark. they would wake up, around midnight, and they'd often be awake for a bit. There'd be like a wake time, and people, it'd be their time to spend time communing with God. That's a lot of people, they would have that time out on the starry sky. We read about Abraham and stuff. This is how they would do things. So they would have that break in the nighttime, and then they would sleep, for the rest of the night. But they would, nothing wrong with that. But
And you know what I find? When I wake up in the night and I, trying to get back to sleep, I find that if I start praying, I will naturally fall back to sleep before I know it. So that's what I just do now automatically. It's like, oh Lord, it's it's our time again. Zonk, gone. So it really works for me doing that. I took off the garlic. the onion because
so you're all better.
Because I'm all better and I'm smelly at the same time. Yeah, I'm starting to smell curry. But before we go, here are some places that you can go to online. Uchee Pines. Fantastic resource. We talked about Agatha and Calvin Thrash earlier, those two doctors, and this is their website, ucheepines.org. They started a wellness facility called Uchee Pines, and on there they have a myriad of resources for you. Any ailments you have, just type that into their counseling sheets section, and you'll find all kinds of things to help you. Lifeandhealth.org, another fantastic resource. They've got tons of recipes on there. They've got videos for you to watch, including some on hydrotherapy. They've got articles for you to read. So much good stuff. Wildwood Health, again, lots of recipes and videos and articles and amazing discoveries, lots of really good recipes with fantastic speakers like Barbara O'Neill and a few other fantastic doctors who are talking about natural remedies and such. So you've got to take a snapshot of this and go to these websites for sure. And I think that is the end. Oh, here's some books as well.
Excellent. By those doctors.
Those same doctors, Agatha and Calvin Thrash, the home remedies. It's got hydrotherapy in there, lots about charcoal, and then they've got the natural remedies and more natural remedies, and a slew of other books as well. These ones are really helpful. You need to have these in your home library, definitely. I believe
that's it.
That's the end of it. Hold on, one quick thing. Just, I guess 2 weeks ago now, I finished a 10-part series I was doing for a church, 2 churches. It's called Live Healthy Now. Take a snapshot of this and go to this YouTube channel, and you'll find the 10 videos there. We dissected the New Start principles. We also did some natural remedies. We did some home with hydrotherapy. Watch those 10 videos to learn more about how to do those New Start principles on a daily basis. All right, you had a question? Kiona, was it, or Kona? Keon. As they're taking pictures.
This is Toronto East SDA.
Yes.
That's where you're from?
I'm from Toronto, but that wasn't my church. They called me. I've done work for them in years past, and so they called me up and asked me to do an online series for them. So yeah, I did it from where we are in Kelowna area. Nice. But yeah. 2 questions.
I realized that the charcoal is more recognized now because we have so much products in the charcoal. We have deodorant, we have
toothpaste.
Toothpaste, we have so much in the charcoal.
Yes.
And the second question, for me, I noticed the fresh turmeric, garlic, and ginger.
Yes.
That's a good immune booster.
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, turmeric is super good.
And you can add it to this concoction here.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So
for sure.
I grate my turmeric and then put it to dry. So I always have a little concoction in my fridge.
Oh, awesome.
Fantastic.
So if I do give it like 1 week drink, I give it a break and then I start drinking it again. And
Very good.
That's very good.
And if you have if you have a Vitamix or a juicer, you could put these ingredients in the Vitamix or juicer. You could just blend it up and drink this. It's more potent, but you know, that's just like super powerful medicine. You know, just and another one is people do like juice an onion, mix that with honey. And that's another very good cold and flu medicine. So there's like limitless different ways, you know, and different ingredients, like you said, turmeric or, it's like, there's just so many.
God is good.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And what you need to do now is study to show yourself approved, dig deeper into all of these. There's so many resources, the ones that we just showed you there. Go to these places and learn more. There's so much to learn. You'd be amazed at all the things.
I mean, we haven't even really, I mean, pine needles, I guess, are wild, but we love doing wild foraging. I've done that for my whole life. And so, I mean, there's so many natural wild plants that are so powerful. And, you know, probably both the best one is dandelion, which everybody has around, and that's like the most amazing superfood miracle thing.
Super duper. The nutritional content of dandelions are off the charts. I had to do a study on dandelion in the university. I had to do a paper on it, a big long paper, and it was just mind-blowing. How amazing dandelions. And we're trying to kill them. We're trying to kill them in our gardens. Whoa, we should be nurturing those things. Eat them up, eat them up.
But you know, whatever, if you have any kind of ailment, that would be one of the first things. Get dandelions in your system because they're that powerful. So, you know, that's just one. You know, we could go on forever for just natural wild remedies as well.
Did you want to try it?
Sure, I'll try this.
Sorry that they're sticking out at you there, but it smells so good.
Yeah, normally you wouldn't have the pine needles in there when you drink it.
They try not, they might stab you.
But yeah, it tastes delicious. Oh yeah, I love it.
And it smells lemony-ish, kind of.
Yeah.
So, but living in Canada, I get to understand not all the dandelions around is the good ones. So I'd be very skeptical about that.
Well, you don't want it where there's been like pesticides or anything, but other than that, any dandelion they're all good. They're
as long as they're
there are some different varieties. Like there's the broadleaf dandelion or the narrowleaf dandelion, but they're both just as amazing. So as long as they haven't been pesticided or dogs and, you want to cultivate your dandelions. Don't just pick them from any lawn because they probably got pesticides on them. And don't get your things along the road or something where exhaust and everything. But
grow some dandelion as a garden kind of thing and use them. They are amazing for your health. Put them in your salad.
And that's how, I mean, you may be familiar, but dandelions weren't natural to North America. This actually came in from pioneers brought over from England. They were growing them in their garden for the purpose of salad greens. So this is how dandelions came to North America. I mean, a lot of the same thing with chicory. Chicory isn't native to North America. And so these came in because these are what people used to eat all the time, dandelion, chicory, but now we're not used to bitter greens. A lot of people aren't used to bitter greens, but in the past, people love bitter greens, and over in Europe, they love bitter greens. So that's something that is good because those bitter greens are the things that are the most powerful medicinal for us.
Yes. If it's bitter, it's good.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of our presentation. We've just gone a little bit over 3 o'clock, but God's goodness right here.
Thank you so
Amen.
much.
Thank you guys for being here.
Are you looking for answers in these unprecedented times? Are you wondering what the future holds? Maybe you just need a church family to be a part of, or maybe you need prayer for something that's going on in your own personal life. Come join us every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. in our journey as we search the scriptures and learn and understand what God says in His Word for us in our lives now and in the future. If you're unable to make it in person, watch one of our sermons on YouTube or Facebook. God bless as we await the soon coming of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Well, folks, I want to say thank you for watching our programming. But I would also like to invite you to further our ministry by liking and subscribing both to YouTube and Facebook. That'd be wonderful. God bless you.